you so much for joining us today. So we're doing a bit of a special today. So I know this time is usually our 2 p.m. Q&A on a Thursday with our doctors, but this week our doctor is joining us tomorrow at 2 p.m. So please tune back in tomorrow, where I'll be speaking to Dr. Andreas Kramer for our regular PBC Q&A. But what we've got today is we wanted just to come on and be live with you and take some questions about the ongoing OCA situation, because I know it's a bit of a concern for our patients. So we wanted to provide you with a bit of an update, but also give you the opportunity to ask us any questions live as well. So first I'm going to do is hand over to Robert and let him give us a bit of an overview of where we are and what progress has been made, and then we will take it from there. Over to you, Robert.
Thanks, Mo. So it feels a very much a new experience and slightly bizarre being on this side of the questions, but we will do the best we can. So if you're joining us today, thank you so much for doing that. And we hope we're going to be able to answer your questions. Now, first off, as you know, neither Mo or I are in any way, shape or form clinically trained. And if you want to look at a clinical point of view, then do bear in mind on our YouTube channel, you will see a special that was clipped from Dave Jones, Professor Dave Jones, OBE, who did a really nice job of explaining it from a clinician's point of view, what's going on and where we are. Now, that was recorded a couple of weeks ago. And so the foundation has jumped into action. We're working really well with many of the other PAGs around the world. And what we're trying to do now is take the patient's case and say, look, we need OCA to continue, and this is why. So if this is brand new to you, let's just recap where we are.
Yep.
June 28th was the European Medicines Agency released a statement saying that their recommendation was that the license for obeticholic acid in PBC should be revoked, albeit only in the 27 countries of the European Union. So the EMA are done and dusted. They've done their job. Some would argue not very well, but they've done their job. And it's now over to the European Commission to make their decision based on that recommendation. And this is where we come in now. So this is up to us as the PBC community. Patients, patient advocates, clinicians, industry, anyone who knows and understands PBC, anyone who knows and understands the lived experience of PBC, what that means for you, what that means for your mum, your sister, your wife, your husband, your family, your daily quality of life, the emotional and psychological burden that you may or may not have in living with this incurable condition. Anyone that knows and understands that is an expert. And this is your opportunity as an expert, as it is ours, to now engage with the European Commission and say, hey, we don't agree with this decision. This is why we don't agree with this decision. And so we would ask you in the strongest possible terms, please revoke the revocation. And that's where we are. Is that helpful, Mo?
Yeah, so we've put all that information starting from the initial announcement on the 28th of June on the website, so you can see all the information that's in there. The petition that we've got running at the moment, there's also links to that there as well. So just thinking as a patient myself and generally in the patient community, what can we do? What can we do to help, to potentially amplify what the foundation are doing?
Yeah. So the first thing I think is be informed. Know what this means. Now, there's this one decision. So this is OCA in Europe, specifically for PBC. But the risks that come from this decision doesn't just sit in that one arena. What happens in terms of other regulators? Are they going to follow suit, or are they going to look at different science, better science? What happens with new drugs? Will they have to jump through these same unattainable, unachievable, unethical goals? And then what about other rare diseases? PBC is a common rare disease. It has an incredibly engaged, informed, and powerful patient cohort. And if you have a rare disease with this much power in the patients together, what about the smaller rare diseases? What about the less well-known or the less well-researched? How are they going to jump through these hoops as well? So to answer your question, Mo, number one is be informed. And the team have done a really good job. They've got one page. It's getting longer and longer by the day. We acknowledge that. But that one page is a real opportunity to start at the beginning and look at it in date order, what's been happening, what's been released, what's been announced, what's been a counter statement, what have the questions been, and all of those kind of things. So that's the first thing. Be informed and let yourself learn in a way that's important to you and that's helpful to you. So that's the first thing. My question to you, Mo, is, so we've run this petition for almost 6 weeks now. I want to know who is going to be signature 2000. Because we're
nearly there. Yeah, right, we're nearly there. Yeah, yeah.
Which is an amazing vintage, I'm told. But
absolutely, yeah.
We need to get over the 2000. So I want to know who is number 2000.
Yes, please. The link for the petition's on the website as well. I can also share it in the Facebook chat just now, which I'll go and do as well at the moment.
And anyone around the world can sign this petition. And the petition is an open letter. And what we're saying is, number one, we're asking you respectfully if you can reconsider the place of a placebo arm in a phase 4 confirmatory trial. And we'll remind me to come back and ask me what phase 4 means in a second. The other part of the petition in the open letter is to say that we, the community in PBC, see the value in OCA. We're seeing the difference it's making to patients' lives in terms of their life expectancy, in terms of their quality of life, and in terms of the fact that they are able, with this therapy, to live a better, fuller, longer life. And so we're raising that topic and saying, please consider this. So 1984 signatures.
Yeah, I just brought it up. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, and that's why there's the two parts of that, isn't there? So we're thinking about the situation that we've got with OCA at the moment, but also the bigger issue of the model that was used for the trial, that if they continue to use the same model, we'll then be in the same position potentially with any other second line treatments that get approved further down the line on a conditional license. Yeah, so speak a wee bit more about that and the phase 4 that you were mentioning in terms of what phase that is and how that affects it.
Perfect. Okay. So one of the things that we haven't always highlighted, so this is really, really important to bear in mind. When you look at PBC, most people will respond to ursodeoxycholic acid. So their bloods will become either normal or very, very close to normal. And then we have a special cohort, which is around about 40%, who do not normalize or respond fully to urso. And so what we're talking about is a subgroup within a subgroup. So this is not everybody with PBC. This is not something that concerns everybody with PBC, although it actually does concern everybody with PBC, because we have a responsibility to look after each other. So it's not everybody that needs OCA. It's not everybody that needs fibrates or any other second-line therapy, but there are a select number of people that benefit from having the opportunity to have that treatment. So back in the day, there was what's called a conditional license. So PBC is rare. I don't know what I've done, Mo, but I think they're coming for me.
They're coming for you. They definitely are.
So yeah, I ran away to Manchester and they still know where I am. Right. So we are. So back in the day, there was a conditional license because PBC is rare, because there's not a therapy that addresses this second line need. It was considered an orphan disease. So to get a speedier access to therapies, we have this conditional license. But the conditional license was dependent on, and here's this phrase again, a phase 4 confirmatory trial. So phase 1, is it safe? Usually in mice, I think. And then you've got phase 2, is it safe in humans? Phase 2B, do we think that it's better to have 5 milligrams or 5,000 milligrams? So we're looking at the actual dosage. And then phase 3 is, does it do what we hope it does? And then phase 4 is we've given you the license, so now it can be prescribed for patients in PBC. But let's just confirm it does what we think it does. And the difficulty with these phase 4 trials is that they're asking for a placebo arm. Now remember, when we talk about second-line therapies, this is a select band of people. So the numbers are fewer, the need and the risk is higher. And we're asking this exact cohort to volunteer to not take the medicine. Even though others can, and even though other people can go to the doctor and go, can I get OCA, please?
Yeah.
And so we talk about the ethical aspect of this, but the ethical aspect of this is because not taking the medicine comes at a cost to the patient. Now, the phase 4 confirmatory trial, which is known as COBALT, and this is really, really important. The regulators were asking in the COBALT trial, how many patients went to end-stage liver disease? How many patients had ascites, which is abdominal swelling? How many patients had esophageal varices? These are deeply unpleasant and risky circumstances for any patient of any disease to be in. Mm-hmm. And yet, somehow, it's okay to ask PBC patients to just find yourself there and we'll deal with it. Now, we know that PBC is 90% women. PBC's been in my life for 30 years now. I've been working in PBC for 21. I'm still not sure I've ever met a middle-aged woman. I'm definitely never saying that I know what one is, but again, the science today says it's middle-aged women, whatever that means now. But just because most PBC patients are middle-aged women, does that make them any more worthless? Does that make them sacrificable? Does that make their family's life sacrificable? Does that make the quality of life sacrificable? I'm going to stop because I'm going to swear. So,
can we just note as well about just the length of this trial? I don't know if we've touched on it. What is the length time we're expecting people to do this?
So, I'm glad you asked that question because I can't remember. I have 5 years in my head.
I have 7.
To double check that. So the new one's 7. So Ipsen have gone through the FDA process with their drug elafibranor, which is amazing because some patients are going to get elafibranor, which is wonderful. And some patients are going to be asked to volunteer not to get elafibranor for 7 years. Mm-hmm. 7 years. And that's implications. Now, the irony is, so both elafibranor and seladelpar, so Ipsen have got elafibranor, Gilead have recently acquired seladelpar, but you probably know it from the CymaBay days. And the average length of time that the patients who took part in those trials were diagnosed was 8 years. Mm-hmm. So the people that were in that trial have already been diagnosed and not treated for 7 and 8 years. So we know what happens to them. We've got the global PBC study group that have published data after data. We know what happens. We've got the UK PBC cohort. We know what happens. Canadian cohort, Italian cohort. We know what happens.
That was my next question, Robert, actually, was if we don't have people going into the phase 4 trials to be on placebo for an extended period because it's wrong, what are the alternatives?
Great question. So there are other drug areas where they've used what they call synthetic controls, where they can use retrospective data, which is looking backwards data.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that was all the cohorts you were talking about. So the UK
yes.
PBC data, that's all the data that's stored
Yeah.
on patient data, yeah.
Now, anyone that's been, it doesn't matter if it's any other organisation, if it's been our organisation, but if you've been and seen some of the what is PBC presentations, and there's loads of them around. There's a really famous one that shows a survival curve of people that respond to URSO, people that don't really respond to URSO, and the people that never ever get URSO. And if you respond to URSO, you can expect a normal life expectancy, statistically. That doesn't make you bus-proof, that's all I'm saying. But what it does is gives you a fighting chance of a normal life expectancy. If you don't respond fully to URSO, you're still much, much better in terms of your life expectancy than if you never ever get URSO. Now, if you've looked on the interwebs and you've kind of said, I've got PBC, how long have I got to live? There is old, out of date, but back in the day, scientifically relevant data that once upon a time said you've got 7 years, 10 years, 12 years, and all of those kind of things, okay? Nowadays, that's nonsense, but back in the day, that made sense. Why? Number one, there were no treatments. And number two, people were allowed to progress, and then they were diagnosed late in their disease, and then they were given treatments. And the later you are treated in your disease, the less likely you are to fully respond. And knowing that, we're asking patients to volunteer to not be treated for 7 years, and then we'll give you a fighting chance of responding. So these are the things that we're dealing with. So this is the bigger picture issues, and this is some of the challenges that we're facing with the current EMA situation. And this is why we're looking forward to finding out who's number 2000.
1984 still, I've just refreshed it. So we've got a question coming in, and I think it would be good just to cover it, because the question is around, so they taken the medications away. So I think just to reassure patients, what's happening just now in terms of the position we're in with the recommendation and what's happening now, but also in terms of if for people in the EU who are on OCA, and also then thinking a bit longer term, potentially for the knock-on to the FDA in the UK as well.
Okay, I'm going to apologize now because I'm going to give a long answer to a really short and very good question. The context. Now, this is really, really important. Number one, the ERN issued a statement that recommended that patients be stopped on their obeticholic acid immediately. That ERN statement was written and presented live to the world without any input from the ERN's PBC leads. So that was Adrian, Alessio, and I can't remember the third one, and I feel embarrassed now. But if you want to know who the third one is, look on the webpage that we talked about. If you go down the webpage, you will find a statement made by the 3 PBC leads. And that really importantly counters that statement from the ERN. So I want to put that out there. I want to take that off the table, and then let's talk about the real world. So let's bear in mind that the EMA's recommendation is only for the 27 countries in the EU. Now, using the word only and considering the patients in those 27 countries is it doesn't feel comfortable, but I just want to emphasize it's not the rest of the world. Now, again, the EMA are not, absolutely not saying stop now. What they're doing is they're recommending that the license be revoked. Now, bear in mind that anybody who's on bezafibrate is being treated without a license. Anyone who's on cholestyramine for itch is being treated without a license. Now, OCA is not available in countries like France, Netherlands, Belgium, Scandinavia. Scandinavia's not a country, but the Nordic countries as well. Now, there are plenty of people there who have not responded to bezafibrate as a second-line therapy. And so on what's called a compassionate use scheme, they have been given obeticholic acid free from the company to add as a triple therapy. So even though it's not available in those countries, actually it's available in those countries. So when it comes to the EMA's recommendation, the recommendation is that they revoke the license. But that means it could still be available. In the overtures that we've heard from the companies involved, we think that that will be the case, that it will still be available. It will be on a compassionate use or named patient process, which means that for the patient, nothing should really change and the doctor has a whole lot more paperwork to do. And as we all know, doctors really need more paperwork in their lives. I don't think there's enough paperwork for our clinicians. And actually, let's make that the next petition. Let's make sure there's more paperwork that gets in the way of clinicians seeing patients, because I think that really benefits our world. Anyway.
It's important for patients to know that they can still get it, just in
100%.
case they need to nudge their clinician to say, no, it may be that there's more that you need to do, but I know that I can still access this, because that's
100%.
what we don't want happening in the meantime, is that people are losing access to it.
So hopefully that answers that question. So, and I think this is the really important thing to mention. It's just, as it stands at the minute, this is only the EU. However, there are other ongoing conversations, and this is where it's really important. So Mo, I'm going to go back to where we started about 18 minutes ago when you said, what can patients do? And we started with the petition. That's one. That's just one thing that you can do. The other thing you can do is write to your politicians. Say, hey, this is important to us. Can you, on our behalf, please write to the European Commission? Number 3, you can write to the European Commission. So we have the emails, again, on this one web page that we're sharing with you. Yeah. And those emails are the key figures within the European Commission. So you've got the President of the European Commission, you've got the Public Health, you've got the Commissioner for Health, you've even got the Press Secretary or Press Commissioner. Yeah. So use that. Write to them in your own words. Wherever you are in the world, write to them. And remember, if you're in the UK, you might have dual citizenship. So I, for example, am an Irish citizen. And so I can write as an Irish citizen and say, here are my concerns. So wherever you are in the world, use what you've got. Write to them in your own words, share your own experience, share your concerns, and ask them in the strongest possible terms to keep this license, because we need the therapy. So those are the main things. There's one last thing that patients can do. Check your diary for the 25th of July. Have a sneaky wee peek what you're up to. And if you're not doing your hair that day, come and join us in Brussels. We're going for a fight. No. So we're going to, I will not be in my kilt. I'm going to be in trousers so that nobody knows who I am. But no, we are going to be in Brussels and we are going to have placards. We're hoping for an appointment with some of the commissioners to talk this through. But we think it's really important, particularly when you look at the PBC demographic, that these people who are not worth the medicine, these people who aren't worth the extra life years, months, that actually they have the opportunity, you have the opportunity to stand up, be heard, be seen, be counted. And if you come to Brussels, you might be part of this session next week, because we're going to do our live Q&A with Professor Dave Jones, OBE, from Brussels.
From Brussels. So I'm just popping a bit into Facebook to say that The protest is 25th of July, protest in Brussels, and I've popped in Linda's email address to reach out for more information. Obviously, we have to apply to protest in Belgium, and we've done that via the police. We're just waiting on some official sign-offs to get confirmation, but it is looking very positive in terms of us being able to hold that protest. And as you mentioned, we are hoping to get a meeting as part of that, and also be able to hand over, although it's a digital petition, also let them know about the petition that's ongoing as well, and the numbers we're at for that. So please reach out to us if you would like to come along with us. The team, majority of the team are certainly doing that. We're getting ready to travel next week.
Indeed. And when we wrote to the police in Belgium, we didn't mention that incident from 2006, Mo. That didn't come up.
No, we are running a book as to who's going to get arrested first, but behave, okay? Behave. Okay. So yeah, that's all in full swing. Really, on a serious note, though, to make sure that we've got the necessary authorization that we need, so that we don't turn up there and then get turned away. So absolutely. Police know we'll be there. They have been, I would have to say, they've been amazing in terms of us emailing them and them get back to us. It's been a very easy and quick process in terms of us applying. We're just now waiting for the sign off from the mayor as well. So once that's all in place, then we can confirm for definite.
And credit where credit's due, the police have even been proactively helpful. Have you considered this? Have you thought about this? And when you look at the people that are coming, are they catered for and supply, all of those kind of things? So they've been fantastic.
They'd also actually given us, they sent a picture of the corner where we'll be. And they gave us the exact address of what's the best place to go for the EC. So all of that was extremely helpful for us. So in terms of that Thursday, so we're protesting 2:30 till 4 p.m, which is Brussels time. So that's, in terms of UK time, would be when we're going to do the webinar. The live webinar will be 3 till 4 Brussels time. So during the time we're protesting, but actually still the 2 p.m. slot here in the UK for people wanting to watch it. So that's the time that we're protesting. It'll be 2:30 till 4 o'clock Brussels time in Brussels.
Perfect. And if you're a member of any other patient support organisation, so I know the example I'm going to use, so for example, in Canada, there are many people that join the foundation and join the Canadian PBC Society, which is absolutely right and proper. I would love for all of you to do that in your own countries. But if you're a member of another organisation and you're in Europe, again, write to them and say, please, can you add my voice to whatever you're saying and doing. And so, yeah, so we're working with the PAGs in and around the world as well as in Europe. We have a joint statement, which we're about to publish in multiple languages. And then early next week, we're actually going to have another open letter where we say we, the patient advocate community, which is different from the patient community, which is different from the patient groups as individuals, we collectively have these thoughts based on this science, and this is our ask. And it's been wonderful actually to be part of, and when we've done the summits and when we pulled all the PAGs together in one room, there's been a real sense of community from most of the PAGs. Opportunities for collaboration, for meaningful partnerships, and to actually, we would never ever want or ask for this project to land at our feet, but it's been absolutely incredible to see the way the community is galvanized as one and come together for you.
Mm-hmm. And that is, I would have to say, that has been amazing, watching all work together to get to the same end goal as well. Yeah. One thing that I just wanted to cover there is, obviously, if we're protesting in Brussels, what we would hope to give near the time is a rendezvous time and a place where we can all meet ahead of the protest. So that would be the plan in terms of sharing that information to come and join us. But thinking ahead to next week, Robert, because obviously if people can't come with us to protest, we'd love as many people to come with us and take part in that with us. But on the day, if people are not with us, what can they do to amplify what we're doing during that time?
Great question. That's a great question. So number one, we would ask you to share. Now, so we put a vlog out I think it was last week, Mo, and
Yeah, they're both up as well. Yeah.
I spoke into the camera, and I described a little of my own personal. It's kind of embarrassment, it's kind of shame. It feels a little like we're letting you down because we're here to serve you as an organization, as individuals, as a collective, as an incredible team. And we're coming to you. You're the ones with PBC. You're the ones that are looking for support and information and community and speaking with other patients and shared experiences, relationships, fun and laughter, just normal life. But we're coming to you and we're saying, actually, we need you in this.
And we do very much.
Yeah.
We do very much need, yeah.
And historically, we've never, ever really asked the patients to share, because we respect your privacy. We don't want you to out yourself if you feel that actually it's no one else's business, because frankly, it's no one else's business. However, on this occasion, we are saying that if you're comfortable and it's something that you feel that you could do, we would love for you to share the message. So when we share these things on Facebook, share the message, share it, friends, put it on your page. If you're in other Facebook groups, again, let them know what we're doing and how they can get involved. Next week, let's create a tsunami. So, you'll see us live. You'll be part of the live broadcast from Brussels. Share it live and let people know what's going on. Let people know the need for what we're doing and be part of the change, be part of the solution. So
probably more than ever in terms of our Q&As, this webinar next week is one that it's not something that we often see our Q&As being shared. It's more for the community that watch them, but this really is something that we want people to share. We want people to share far and wide with their contacts so that people can see the work that's going on and potentially help with support in that as well. Yeah, definitely.
So no, 100%. So yeah, that's our ask, and we would love for you to do that. If you can share the petition with friends, family, work colleagues, anyone that knows you and understands your journey and it wants to support you in your journey, we'd be grateful. So yeah, so let's find out who's number 3,000.
1986.
Okay.
We're moving up while we're here. Let's see if we can get it to 2000 before the end of the hour, guys. That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
1986. I think 1986. That was a good year for music. that was the final countdown. That was all that kind of stuff. So there you go. The final countdown. What more could we ask for?
Is there a question that came up actually in the team meeting this morning was, is there a guitar coming to Brussels?
Well, I've not even thought about that.
We thought there probably would be, but that was something that was mentioned.
That's a great question.
So guys, if there are any, I'm just keeping an eye on the Facebook here just to see if there's any other questions as well around how you can help us amplify the protest, how you can get involved, or anything around what we were chatting about earlier, which is if you're on the medication and you're a bit concerned about what's going to happen next, anything like that, just let me know in the chat and I can pick it up here and we can have a little chat about it.
Can I add one thing more? So we are taking this immensely seriously. But one of the things that I think is a measure of where we are now is we're still doing the day job. The helpline is still open. We're still doing our online services. We're still preparing for the bare facts. We're still putting advocacy projects. We've got the patient conference coming up in September. Am I allowed to say there's extra rooms available, or am I not allowed?
I'm just going to say, if people are waiting on a response from me, you will get it soon. Accept my apologies. We hit this quite amazing position where all of the rooms at the hotel were taken up because we had such interest in it, and that's happened really quick, much quicker than we had anticipated. So what we're doing now is securing rooms at another hotel and looking at how we can expand that and make it. So if you are waiting to hear from me, please just be patient with me a little bit longer. I'm doing my absolute best and I will be back in touch with everyone. I know, I wish it was just one job. So that's what we are trying to keep the lights on in terms of all our other services. Yeah. But this is such an important thing that we have to take time out to make sure we are addressing this as
absolutely. Well. I think it's amazing that we are now of the size, we have such an incredible team that we can take something of this magnitude. And it was interesting, I was told yesterday that there was only one organization in the world that was going to be able to lead this. And again, that's testament to the people that use us and the people that we serve, and we take that really, really seriously.
And our community is so supportive and active as well, isn't it? When we do reach out, the support is there. That's what's been really nice to see, all the PAGs from around the world come together for this as well.
Absolutely. But we assure you, the doors are open as normal. So the helpline's available. We're doing the conference. Yep. We're doing the launch of the Project 1990. We've got the Bare Facts going on. We've got the Volunteers Conference in November. Business as usual.
Yep.
Whilst we take this on.
And tomorrow will be our usual 2 p.m. slot for our doctor as well, because Dr. Kramer usually joins us on a Friday when he does it. So we're doing that tomorrow. So all our regular Q&As will be picked up there tomorrow. So if you've got anything for that, just let me know as well.
I think you asked about the guitar, so I've got a feeling it's Friday Fizz tomorrow, and we have the H-Bomb. H-Bomb is back. We've got a decent singer for a change.
I know. It does make a difference when we have a decent singer. I'm just going to put that out there.
Thank you.
So.
All right. Any other questions, or have we bothered these poor people enough?
There isn't anything else come in, but I'm just going to give people another chance just to say, if there is anything, please just pop it in the chat for us and I'll pick it up. We appreciate this, and that's why we thought it was useful to come live again today, is that this is a very much a live situation, and we're trying to make sure that you're kept up to date, but also make sure that you have all the information that you need. And if there's anything you feel that's missing or anything that we could do in addition, please just let us know. I'll also pop this video up onto our YouTube channel later on today as well, so that it's available to view from there as well, and obviously it's on Facebook too.
So whilst we're waiting to see if there's any other questions coming in, let me just kind of recap where we are. We have our position statement, which has been signed by Dave and myself. So that's our thoughts on the actual announcement itself. We will have an open letter that's already gone out, that's on the website, to the ERN in reply to their statement. Early next week, if not tomorrow, there will be an open letter to the commissioners, again from the foundation. This is where we are. The Board of Trustees are working on a position statement from the board. Because remember, the Board of Trustees are there to make sure that we do A, what we said we would do in our articles and memorandums, so our setup. We were designed and built to support patients, to educate and inform, public awareness, help research where we could. So the Board of Trustees are there to make sure that we do that. We do it in a compliant, legal, ethical and moral way. And they also keep a really, really good eye on the purse strings and make sure that we spend the money on what we're supposed to spend it on. So the board will be issuing their statement to say, actually, as the board that governs the foundation team and the staff and the services and everything else, we see what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it, and this is why we as a board support the initiatives. So that's on its way as well. On top of that, we're aware that there are many clinicians, particularly in the Medical Advisory Board, that are working together. We're working with our European members of the Medical Advisory Board. So you'll know Marco Carbone. You might not know Anna Leo yet. But again, we're working with these people to make sure they've got statements and they're involved and they're giving us quotes that we can share in the media. Then we have the joint statement. So we have a joint statement. So this is a position statement from the PAGs, who are all endorsing it and adding their logos to it. And then the next stage from them will be a joint open letter. And again, the open letter is a bit bigger, it's more detailed. So the position statement is, this is what we saw, this is what we think, this is what we feel, this is what we ask. And the open letter has much more detail, much more science, more citations of all the public papers and all of those kind of things, and a much more powerful argument with the ask. So we'll be working on that, and we hope that that is out next week. We know the PAGs, many of them are doing their own individual letters as well to highlight where we are and what we need and what we're asking for. I think that gives a kind of overview of all the bits of action. It's a lot of wheels, it's a lot of cogs, but it's the right thing. And we have no idea, as it stands at the minute, if our actions are going to make a difference or not make a difference, or what the decision will be from the European Commission. However, we would much rather come to you and say we did everything within our powers and we could do what we do, other than going, yeah, we didn't do that, we could have done that, we should have done, you know, we're doing everything in our powers, and we are thinking about you in every single step of what we do.
Absolutely. If we're thinking about wrapping up, I'd just like to mention one comment that's came in, which I think is an excellent comment. So thank you and good luck. I hope H-Bomb can go to Brussels to sing whilst you play the guitar. We need a good protest song, and we absolutely do need a good protest song. So I think that's a brilliant idea.
Okay.
What will be no,
okay.
No Scotland, no party.
Maybe. Can't argue with the logic, right?
No, you can't, but it's not. No, it's not appropriate yet. So, which I just thought that was a lovely thing actually to think about, and having a protest song would be, because I think that kind of live music potentially would draw quite a bit of attention as well. So I think that is a really good idea. So that's great.
Right.
Was there anything else, Robert, that I haven't asked that you think would be good to cover before we finish up?
I think we've covered most of the bases. If you do have any other questions, or if there's anything that you don't think we've addressed, drop us an email.
Yeah, just let us know. Yeah,
it's business as usual. So come to us, and we'll do everything we can.
And we can let you know if there's anything else.
Right.
But that's brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, Robert. I know you're travelling and was busy today, but I appreciate you being able to join us remote and take part in this as well. I think it's really important that we're keeping the patients up to date with as much information as we can, and with it being a live situation as often as we can as well. So really appreciate that. So thank you.
No, pleasure. It's nice to be on this side of the fence. So we'll get you next week.
I wasn't particularly sure I could host if it was going to be you that was answering questions. I was like, this is a bit much to handle. I'm not sure I'm up to this job. But no, we do really appreciate your time. So thank you for that. And any other questions, anything else, just pop us a message or an email, and we'll pick that up as well. So thank you so much.
Thanks all. All right, I'll see you back tomorrow.
Take care. See you later. Bye.